Good morning. We're going to continue our discussion of R and R Studio as regards data types and data structures. So by way of review, what we have discussed so far is that there are different types, data types. What we have looked into are, okay, for the data types, we have numeric, okay, we have integer, we have character, we have logical, we have uh, complex, and we also discussed dates. Okay, this have been our discussion so far. And then we went to data structures, and we said that the most basic data structure is a vector. A vector consists of one or several elements, and we can create an object, give it a name, and to consist of elements, and these elements are all the same. When I say the same, only one data type. So it can be all numeric, all integers, all characters, all logical values, etc. We call that a vector. The next data structure that we would want to look at is a list. So what is a list? A list is an R structure that may contain objects of any other types, including other lists. So you can have an object which contains a numeric values. You can have character values. You can have logical values, integers, dates, etc. But they all put them together. Okay, and we have several data types, and that's what we call a list. Unlike a vector, which is atomic, which means that it can only contain one data type. So let's have an example. So let's create a code chunk here. Control Alt I or Command Option I for Mac. Okay, so let's create, for example, I want to name an object called G1 Alt minus, and let's have numeric value. Okay, C 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have here a vector of numeric values. This is G1, right? Okay, we can print this, and then just to check, we can ask for its class, class G1. Okay, then let's create another object. Let's call it G2. Okay, this time let's create a vector of, let's say, C10 to 15. So this is a vector. This is an integer vector. If you recall, 10 to 15, we're not listing it. We're just using the column from 10 to 15. We know that this is an integer vector. Okay, so we can ask for the class of G2. Okay, and then let's create another vector. Let's create some character vectors. Okay, so if you recall, we have the month that ab. Okay, so this is a constant. So we can yes, class D3. Okay, have I discussed this with you, class, the constants? Could you please give me feedback, because I'm not sure if this one I discussed with you or another section. I think I discussed this with you. Class, putting letters, for example, in constants coming from the base package. Class, no. Okay, sige, sorry. All right, so let me discuss that very briefly. In R, there are coming from the base package. Let me just clean this. Okay, if we use the help function, base double colon, and then let common capital C O N ONS. Okay, so there's this function constants. Control enter. It will give us it will bring us to the help function of R. Okay, constants. So this is coming from the base package, and we need not, if you recall, we need not install this nor load this because this comes already pre-loaded. So we have here built-in constants. We have, for example, letters. So if I type letters, it will generate. Okay, take a look at this. No? Ayan, may function siya na letters. No? If I type letters, control enter, it will give us a list, actually a vector of the capital letters. If it's small t, small letters, it will give us a vector of small letters. And we also have here, meron pa dito month.ab and month.abbreviation. So that's January, February, March, and month.name, which is also the same as month. Ayan, the same as month. Wala. Wait, month.name. Okay, sorry, walang month. Days. Months pala, months. Sorry, yan, month. Okay, not month, months. Okay. Hindi, ayaw. Function siya. This method months. Okay, sorry about that. So it's month month.name. Okay, so going back to our example a while ago, this one, I'm creating an object G3, and it contains the names of the months from January to December. And this we know is a character vector to. May mga codes siya. Okay, so let's create another one. G4, I'm creating here several vectors. So gawin natin tong true, false. So these are logical values, no? Okay. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and then class. Okay, G4. And say maglagay din tayo ng G5. Okay, see this is 3 minus 2i. And then 5 plus 3i. Okay, we have here a vector. Parang review na rin natin to class ng vectors natin. We have a vector of complex numbers. Okay, and lastly, maglagay pa tayo sa G6. Okay, we have, gawin natin as that date. And then gawin natin 2023, 05, May 1. (2023) 05, May 2, and then also 2023 05, May 3. Okay, I'm creating an object called G6. It's a vector, class G6. Okay, so these are all vectors. If we run this, everything, okay, it will print out G1, G2, G3 up to G6, and then it will also give us the class of G1 hanggang G6. So if you run this, okay, for the benefit of those who are having difficulty typing, let me just put this in the chat box. Okay, for your reference. Okay, let me run this. Run. Okay, so what do we have here? Di ba nag-create ng vector ngayon, no? You take a look at our environment. May G1 dito. Under the values section, G1, G2 hanggang G6. Okay, G1, G2 hanggang G6. And G1 is a vector, numeric vector, 1 to 6. G2 is integer vector, yung 10 hanggang 15, ba ito? And then G3 is a character vector, yung months. G4 is a logical vector. G5 is a complex vector. And, ba't ako nagkamali dito? As that date, saan ang mali ko dito, class? Okay. Ba yung mali ko? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, there. Huh? Sorry about that. I missed on the concatenate here. Kaya nga nag-NA siya. Okay, so we have a date vector here. No? 2023, May 1, May 2, May 3. Okay, let me pause for a while and ask you if you were able to generate these vectors and lahat siya andi dito, no? You can see now the type of vector G1 has, no? Numeric, integer, character, G4 is logical, G5 is complex, G6 is date. Okay, all right, let me ask the class, were you able to generate this? Dapat magre-reflect sa, it should reflect in your environment. Feedback, please. Okay, good, thank you. Let's wait for the others. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's create another object. So we have this, di ba? Ito na yung 6 na objects natin, 6 na vectors natin. And then we were told that a list is supposed to be an object that contains several types. It can be numeric, okay? It can be character. So what happens if I'll create G7, and then it will be combining G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, G6. Okay? Combine natin, concatenate natin si G1 hanggang G6, and then let's get the class of G7. Okay, what happens here, class? Could you please chat in the chat box? What did you get? Kinombine natin si G1, G2, si G1 numeric yan, si G2 integer, etc. So magkakaibang ano yan, di ba? So will this create a list? Okay. Let me wait for the answers of the others. Okay, si Micah, thank you. Si Micah, no daw, no? Ano na-generate na class, Micah? Frizzell, ganun din. Okay, so let's wait for the others. Kindly chat yes or no, and then the class of object that was created. Let's see. Anong class ng object na na-create? Anong class si G7? Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah, good. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, class. I'm happy that you're giving your answer. You're correct, no? You're correct. Tama, no? So isinama natin, we joined G1 up to G6 together, we concatenated it and created one object, G7, and then we took the class of G7. If I run this, okay, notice that now you have G7 here, and there are 37 elements. Ayan, 1 up to 37. Kinumbine siya, no? And we're told that this is a character vector. Okay? So pinagsama-sama niya lahat ng G1, G2, up to G6, but it did something with it. Okay? What did it do? Actually, what it did was to coerce, no? So nag-coercion. Okay? So what's coercion here? Take note that you have several data classes, di ba? May numerica, integer, character, etc. Okay, ito yung mga data classes natin. So you told R to create this object consisting of G1 up to G6, which are vectors of different data types. So anong ginawa ni R? Well, it created an object called G7, and then it looked for the data type where all of the data types can be converted to. Okay? So ano siya? Anong data type 'yon? Okay, take a look at this. Yung January, February, March, April, can you convert it into a numeric value? Yung complex na 3 minus 2i, tsaka 5 plus 3i, can it be converted to an integer? Okay, so the answer is no. Of all of this class, ang pinaka-possible na lahat ng values na to ma-convert into is a character. Yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pwede ma-convert yan into a character. Lagyan na natin ng quotes yan, character na yan. 10 to 15 can be converted into a character. True, false, logical values, or complex values, lagyan nyo lang lahat yan ng quotes. Okay? They can be converted into character, kahit yung dates. So what R did was to do a process called coercion, kung saan pwede i-convert lahat. So pag may character, lahat yan pwede i-convert to character kahit anong data types pa yan. Okay, so there's a rule in coercion, but we will not go into that so much because hindi naman natin kailangan talaga yun. But just be aware that when you're creating an object and you're combining you're combining several objects that have different data types, then magko-coerce. I-create nga ito ni R. Pero magko-coerce siya. So ang tanong, paano kaya kung walang Paano kaya kung walang character? Sige nga, experiment lang natin Okay. I'm going to copy this, Control C, and then Control V. Okay, asan yung character dito? Di ba ang character natin si G3? No? Si G3. So what if I remove G3 here? So let me call this G8. And I'm going to remove G3 here. Okay, I'll put here, remove the character vector. Kasi kanina may character vector eh. Diba? Nung sinama natin si character vector, lahat ng mga elements ng mga coming from the different data types, it was converted into a character vector. Now let's see what happens kung tanggalin natin si character vector. Okay, so let's create this object G8. Hanapin natin yung class. If we run this, okay, what happened? Ayun. Ang susunod na pwede i-convert is into a complex number. Okay? So, kaya lahat to ginawa niyang complex. So, hierarchy yun. Pag may character, mauuna yung character. Doon siya i-convert. Pag complex naman, pag may complex tas walang character, yan ang susunod na gagawin. Kasi yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, pwedeng gawing complex. No? This becomes 1 plus 0i. So itong mga numbers na to, may real siya, wala lang imaginary. Ganun din to. No? Ito, yung 10 to 15. you take a look at this, okay, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, tapos ito ano nangyari? Itong 1 plus 0 ay, ang susunod kasi yung, what's G4? Di ba ang G4 class is ito, true or false. Right? Ginawa, yung true or false, ginawa siyang pag true, 1. Pag false, 0. That's why, nung kinu-earth siya, ayan no, 1 plus 0i, 1 plus 0i. Okay. And then ito yung ano, ito yung complex natin. Tapos yung date, kasi each date in R is represented by a number. Okay? So may number equivalent ang date. Yung May 1, 2023, that has a corresponding number in R. Okay? Diba? If you recall, nasabi ko yata sa class natin na ang 1970 January 1 corresponds to your day 0. So lahat ng dates sa R, it can be converted into a number. Alright? Kaya naging na-coerce siya into a complex. Okay? Any questions so far, class? From here, we can see that when you're combining several data types into one, magko-coerce si R kasi hindi pa pwedeng ano eh, hindi pa pwedeng magkasama-sama yung iba't ibang data types in one vector. Okay, any questions, please? Were you able to get that? As experiment nyo na lang, no? Paano kung wala si complex? Ano kaya mangyayari? So I want you to try that experiment. Feedback please kung okay tayo so far. Thank you, Rowell. How about the others? Okay, good. Okay, please don't be ashamed to ask questions. No? Journey natin to, class. Gusto ko all of us are learning together. Let's support each other. Let's help each other. Okay, and I'm happy that in this class I see that you're participating by giving me feedback. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's continue, no? Ang problema hindi naman list 'to di ba? So paano tayo makakapag-generate ng list? Okay, so let's now create this. Control Alt I. Okay, I'm going to create now an object called H1. Tawagin na lang natin H1. Alt minus. And then we're going to ililist ulit natin tong ito lahat. Saan na siya? Saan na si G7? G1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry dapat dito to. This should be after this one. Okay, nauna yung G8. Dapat G7 muna tapos G8. And then dito, what we want is to create a list. Okay? When we concatenated these different objects, hindi siya nag-create ng list. Okay? Bakit? Kasi hindi naman natin sinasabi kay R na mag-create siya ng list. So how do we do that? Okay, let's copy this. Control, dito na lang. Okay. Paano kaya tayo makakapag-create ng list? Then, what do you think, class? Let's create an object called H1 and that this H1 is a list. Nung kanina, in-attempt natin to, hindi naman siya nag-create ng list. Okay, so how do we create a list? Kasi yun ang gusto natin makita na ngayon. A list out of that. Anyone, class? Okay, so, yes. Okay, correct, no? Thank you, Micah. So, Micah is correct. Tama. gamitin natin yung function na list. CR, meron siyang list function that we can use so that it will generate a list of a list rather than a vector. So paano yun? So palitan natin tong C and then we use list. Okay, so list G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, G6. Okay, i-print natin. Okay, and then class H1. All right. So now I'm using this function list. Tapos sinasama natin si G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, G6. No? And then let's get the class of H1. Let's run this. Okay, now take a look now at the result. Okay, take a look at the result and let's take a look at the environment. We created H1 class and notice it's not placed under values, it's placed under data. Okay, so kapag vector yung create natin, under values siyang ilalagay. Kapag list yan or in any other data structure, dito siya papasok sa data. Okay, and notice meron tayong ano dito, no? What do you call this? Nakalimutan yung pangalan. Ano to, class? Grabe. Hindi, itong sign na to. Magnifying glass, okay? You have this magnifying glass that we can use in order to see what this list of 6 contains. So nakalagay dyan, list of 6. If I click this, itong may dito, may button dito, it will now give us a list of what's included in this H1 object. So meron kang numeric vector, meron kang integer, meron kang character. So you now have a collection of objects that have different data types. Diba? Ano ba yung list? A list is an R structure that may contain different data types. Ayan, ito na nga, diba? So meron yung una, yung numeric, integer, character, logical, complex, and the data type. No? And if I click this, ito, magbubukas dito yan sa window pane natin, natin dito, sa tabs natin dito. And then it says here H1. Yan. So anong laman ni H1? I can minimize this, I can maximize this. And it's a list of 6. So ano laman niya? Ang first element dun sa list is double siya, which is it's a numeric values, 6 siya. Yung pangalawa, integer siya, 6 din. Yung pangatlo, character siya, 12, yung January to December. Pang-apat, the fourth one is a logical containing 8 elements, yung true false natin. The fifth one is complex containing 2 elements. And then the sixth one is a date. Okay? Ang type of niya double din. Parang numeric, no? It's a date object and then ito yung mga dates niya. Okay? So now that distinguishes a list from a vector. Okay. So sige, pause muna ako. Any questions so far, class? Or please, paki-chat naman please if you were able to follow along. Okay, thank you. Okay, good. Salamat ha. All right. Now, just to explain further, ito class, this gives us this is used for subsetting. So ang ibig sabihin nitong double parenthesis na to, this is from list H1. This is the first element of H1. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Itong 1 na to, this refers to number 1 here. Okay? So this is from the first element of the list. Ito yun, in double brackets 1. And then this one, the second bracket here, 1, refers to number 1 here. Okay? Kasi pwedeng marami yan, tapos meron pang susunod na number dito, kunyari number 10 to, and then whatever value here is, it means that the whatever value here is the 10th value. Okay? Just like this, no? Ito, tingnan nyo to, number 3. This is the third element of your list. 1 here refers to January, and 11 here refers to November. Okay, pang 11 yung November. Okay, if I minimize, yan natin okay, hindi siya nag-adjust, no? 11 pa rin yung this November. I thought mag-7 siya dito tapos July. Okay. Anyway, no? So yun ang ibig sabihin ng yung second na brackets doon. Okay? So, for example, if I want to print H1, if I want to print the first element, di ba? Yung first element na yun, 1, 1, right? Okay, yun yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, H1, and then, let's say 3, and then 6. Third element of your list, and then dun sa third element na yung number 6. Okay, di ba? Yung mga months to di ba? January, February, March, hanggang December, tapos yung pang-anim nila is June. Okay, so that's what we mean by subsetting. Yun ang ibig sabihin nitong itong mga brackets na to. So don't be intimidated by that. Don't be confused by that. Subsetting lang yan. Yung mga nakita natin na values dito. Okay, saan na yan? Okay, here. Okay? All right, then we can actually, let me add another, okay, sige, mag-a-add tayo ng another, Okay, so H2, let's create an H2, i-copy natin to, Control C, Control V, and then here I'm going to include dito a list. So may list pa ako dito, containing, let's say, a numeric vector 100, 101, 102. Okay, and then let's see, we have 25 up to 30. And then, sabihin natin C, false, 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 false. Okay, what am I doing, class? What am I doing? Nag-include lang ako ng another list. No? So this one, list, ano laman ito? This is a numeric vector. This is an integer vector. And this is a logical vector. Right? Bilangin lang natin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Plus 2. So let's see what happens, class, if I included in my list not only vectors to it, but also another list. So let's see what happens to H2. Run natin. Okay. Let's first take a look at this one. So yung list natin dito, so I have another list here. And the list consists of 7 elements. No? If I click this, okay, so ano na dito? No? Meron tayong yung kanina, no? yung 6 na vectors, and then you have another list here. List of 3 numeric, integer, and logical values. So, as I was saying a while ago, a list can contain a combination of vectors, different types of vectors, and also it can contain another list. So this is a list within a list. Okay? May list ka dun sa list object natin. So that's H2. Si H1 natin, list siya, pero walang list. Si H2, it's a list, and then it also has another list inside it. So pwede yan. Okay, so once again, class, is that clear yung concept ng list within a list? Okay. All right. So, sige. So let's continue, class, no? Okay, so makikita natin dito yung difference ng isang vector. Okay, the vector is here, and then yung date, yung list andi dito. So you can see the difference. Si vector, you can only print it by typing the vector G1, G2, etc. Si si list, pwede nating makita dito yan. And then it will be printed here. Okay? So, sige, i-close ko na muna to. Close this one. All right. Any questions about list, class? Any questions so far? None? Okay. So the third data structure that we're going to look at is data frames. So what's a data frame? It's a table or two-dimensional array-like structure. So may mga characteristics, may mga attributes ng isang data frame. No? So let's take a look at them. Number one, the column name should be non-empty. Ibig sabihin, dapat may pangalan yung column. Number two, the row name should be unique. Number three, the data can be numeric, factor, character, kahit ano. So pwede siyang logical, pwede siyang complex. Okay, and each column should contain the same number of data items. So let me just illustrate that. Okay, so I have here x1, x2. These are the names of our columns. Variable siya, x3. Okay, and then you have here column row names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Okay, let's take a look at the characteristics. Number one, the column name should be non-empty. So dapat may pangalan yung column. Okay, so it can be a variable, the name of a variable, GNP, GDP, okay, gender, etc. Okay. The row name should be unique. So ito, usually index siya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hindi pa pwedeng 1 tapos 1 ulit, 2 tapos 2. Dapat unique yung mga row names. No? Okay. There. Tapos, also, number 3, the data can be numeric. As I mentioned a while ago, it can be numeric, it can character, lahat ng data types pa pwede. Okay? Ano yung factor? A factor is a character type data type that can be used as a classifier. For example, gender. So may variable tayo kunyari na gender. So ang gender, pwedeng male, female, say female ulit, male. Okay? So in our study, we can make use of this gender data as a classifier. Kasi pag, let's say you're studying some a particular topic, pwede nating i-segregate yung impact kay male o kay female. Okay? So in that case, yung character type na to can be considered as a factor. Okay, so any data type that can be used as a classifier is called a factor. Example, year level kunyari. So meron tayong kunyari frosh, and then senior, senior, graduating, etc. So these are this is a character type, di ba? Pero itong character type na to, pwedeng gamitin siya na to classify. O kunyari, international yung study natin, country, kung saan galing. So Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, etc. So that can be used as a classifier. Lahat ng mga Philippines, lahat ng mga Malaysia. So ang tawag doon factor. Okay, but not, of course, not all character types can be used as factors. Kunyari, just for purpose of discussion, kunyari meron ditong let's say address, no? Kinuha yung address and it became part of the data. Address. So iba't ibang address yan. Now, unless gusto mong pag-aralan yung differences among the different homes, among the different addresses, then that's the only time na pwede maging factor yan. Okay? So I hope that's clear. Pero kunyari pag city, Manila, Quezon City, Makati, yun pwedeng factor yun. Kasi pwedeng, it can be used as a classifier. So not all character type data can be used as a factor. Kailan lang magiging factor? Kung pwede siyang gamitin na classifier. Okay? All right. So let's have an example. Clear muna natin to. So let me go here. Bago mag-example 1, dito na tayo. Control-Alt-I. Let's install a package, install the packages. Alam nyo na may maraming mga packages na pwede natin gamitin kay R. Install that packages and let's install Datarium. Okay, Datarium. So this is a package where you can access several data types. No? I'm not going to install it kasi na-install ko na siya. But please do install it and then let's require it library Datarium. Okay? Alright, ako library na lang ako kasi na-install ko na yan. Okay, sandali. May nag-default pa. Okay, once you have installed Datarium and then loaded it, kindly chat please so that I know if I may continue. If you have any concerns, please. Okay, done. All right, so good, no? Okay, thank you for the feedback. Tingnan natin, class. Let's just take a look at what we can find in Datarium. Let's go to packages. And once you have loaded it, expect, class, na pag delivery niyo siya, expect natin na may search for Datarium. Dapat naka-check na yung ano, no? So here, data, yan, naka-check na yung Datarium natin. Kasi nag-library na tayo. And it should be found here. So what's Datarium? Data Bank for Statistical Analysis and Visualization. Let's click this. And then you can see here some data that we can use. So anxiety, depression. So here are examples. Andito yung Titanic. And we're going to access the marketing data. Okay? May marketing data dito. So let's load this. So how do you load that? So go to use the data function, data, and then let's say coach marketing. Yan. Alam ni ano yan, malalaman ni R kasi we loaded data Datarium already. No? Okay? So when we run this data marketing, take note sa ilalim dito, magkakaroon dito ng marketing promise. No? Ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya fully loaded. Okay? And if you want to access that, gamitin natin si view, tapos marketing. So what happens when we type view marketing? Then you notice that marketing now falls under data. Nasa data na siya, marketing. 200 observations of 4 variables. Okay, so let me run this. I-view ko siya. Lalabas dito sa isang tab yung data na to. So you have YouTube, Facebook, newspaper, sales, and there are 200 observations. Okay, YouTube, Facebook, newspaper, sales. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's see if this is a data frame. Number one, does it comply with the requirements? The column name should be non-empty. May mga pangalan ba yung column siya? Yes, YouTube, Facebook, newspaper, sales. So okay yung first requirement. Second, the row name should be unique. Ang row names ito, yung index niya, ito, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wala naman nauulit dyan, unique yan. 200 entries. So okay tayo sa second requirement. Number 3, the data can be numeric, factor, or character type. Walang problema. Lahat siya, wala tayong character type dito. Lahat siya numeric. No? Okay lang yun, walang problema. Number 4, each column should contain the same number of data items. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, lahat sila 200. No? Okay, 200 observations. Okay, walang 250, okay, walang 220, lahat sila 200. It doesn't mean na lahat dapat may listed na values, no? Sometimes there will be missing values. But it doesn't mean that hindi sila parehong number of rows. Okay, so dito pare-pareho silang 200 observations lahat. But sometimes there can be missing values. Kunyari ito, pwedeng wala yung 34.44. Okay, pero it does not violate this. Yung requirement na to. Each column should contain the same number of data items. Okay? All right, questions about this, class? And sama na natin dito. Okay, class. Okay, so take note, meron na tayong object dito, di ba? Meron na tayong under data, andito din sa marketing object. Okay, class. Hanapin natin yung class ng marketing. Run natin, and you can see now here that it's a data frame. Okay, data frame siya. Okay, once again, class, any questions so far? Okay, good. Okay, so far, class, nakita natin distinction ng isang vector, ng list, at saka ng data frame. Okay? Okay, so ano yung difference nila? If we check, tingnan natin na ano yung length ni marketing. The length ni marketing, oops. Run natin yan, 4. Bakit 4? Bakit 4? Kasi 4 yung ano niya, 4 yung variables niya, no? 4 yung columns niya. However, ang dimension naman, dimension in marketing, okay? Ang length niya, 4 kasi 4 columns. Ang dimension niya, 200 by 4. So the dimension gives us the size of the data frame. 200 rows by 4 observations. Okay? Yeah, thank you. Unlike, i-compare natin to class kay length ni H2, okay? At saka dimension ni H2. Take note, si H3 ba list yan? Ang length ni H2 at saka dimension ni H, let's see the difference. Okay? Ang length niya, 7. Kasi 7 yung items na nasa H2. Pero dimension niya, null. Kasi walang number of rows and columns si list. Okay, isang row lang yan ng isang list lang ng 7 si H2, 7 items yun. Okay, wala siyang dimension. Dimension is reserved for data frames or for matrices. No? Okay. By the way, class, before I forget, ko na muna, no? Kasi from my experience with the other section, okay, let me chat here. Hindi namin natapos to, no? So it means we will have to have another session to finish this data types. So I'm going to share with you, paki copy na, no? Paki-load. Tapos pakidala to sa pakidala sa Tuesday. No? Okay, matrices and arrays. So we're going to continue our session next Tuesday, finishing this data frame and also matrices and arrays. So please bring that. Okay, kasi baka makalimutan ko. Okay, so you can see that ang data frame, meron siyang dimension, no? 200 by 4. Ang length niya, yung yung number of columns. Okay, also take note, if I type here marketing, for example, marketing, okay, and then if I type dollar, what do you notice here? Marketing, na-recognize ni, ano yan, ni R. Now, we have an object called marketing, and then if I type dollar, what will this give you? It will give you the different columns, no, of marketing. Yung YouTube, yung Facebook, yung newspaper, at saka yung sales. Okay? All right. So, for example, can you please compute for the Asan na si marketing? View marketing pa ulit. Okay. Can you please compute for the mean of YouTube? Sige nga, class. Let's compute for the mean, for the average of YouTube. How much will it be? So mean, may error ako ah. Dito na lang. Mean ni YouTube. And then, sama na rin natin standard deviation, for example. Standard deviation is sales. Okay, what are you getting, class? What's the mean of YouTube and standard deviation of sales? Okay, what are you getting? Oh, you were able to get it? Okay, paano niyo nakuha? Sige, simulan natin kay Joy Alicia. How did you get 176.451? Pero ito lang sinabi ko, di ba? Mean ng YouTube lang eh. Okay, bakit mo sinama yung Joy Alicia? Bakit mo sinama yung marketing?
Since you're getting the YouTube under the marketing table.
Pero ito, i-run nyo muna to. What are you getting with this one? Na-skip nyo yung lesson na to, no? May discussion pa tayo dito eh. So, don't insert first sa marketing kasi that's where we're going. Ito muna. What's the result, class? If you get the mean of YouTube?
Not found.
Oh, not found, no? So, hindi pa pwede to. Not found to. Bakit? If you take a look at your objects, wala naman ditong YouTube eh. Diba? You don't find any YouTube here in your data. Yung sales dito, standard deviation ng sales. Error din yan. Kasi, hindi naman nare-recognize si R kung ano si YouTube and ano si sales, no? Yan. Thank you, Abijah. Abijah, kindly share your answer to the class, please. This is what I was expecting from you.
Sir, when I run po the mean and then
Hindi, ano mo, copy-paste mo yung ano mo sa to everybody. When you share your answer, class, please share nyo sa lahat, no? Okay, thank you. So ito yung sinasabi ni Abijah, the object isn't found. Tama, no? Error. Kasi nga, we're getting the mean of YouTube. If you take a look at the data here, wala namang YouTube na data dito. There's no object called YouTube. So talaga mag-error. So this is very important for us. Yun ang gusto kong i-drive na yung mga objects lang na andi dito ang mare-recognize ni R. Except if they're preloaded. Kunyari letters, di ba? Kanina, pinakita natin yung object na letters. When we type letters, i-print niya yung A to Z. Okay, wala naman dito yun, di ba? It's not here. Because it's preloaded. Predefined yung yung name na yun. Dito, sa R, wala namang predefined na YouTube at saka sales. Hindi predefined yan. So when we run this, magkaka-error talaga. Alright, so how do we address this? we address this by, ito yung sinasabi kanina ni Joy Alicia, no? YouTube can be found in marketing. So take a look at this, marketing. If I type marketing here, and then $sign, lalabas dito yung laman ni marketing. YouTube, Facebook, newspaper, sales. I can just type tab. Yan. Also, standard deviation, sabi natin. Again, this is from marketing data, marketing object, dollar. Yan. I'll go down, sales, and then tab. Yan. So, now this will be recognized. No? 176 yung average in YouTube at saka 6.26 yung standard deviation sales. Okay. Now I have another question. Okay. How do I make this work? How do I make this work without writing marketing dollar YouTube? Is that possible? Can we run that without putting marketing? Doesn't that conflict with the idea that we mentioned a while ago that will not work kasi hindi naman mare-recognize ni yung YouTube at saka sales kasi hindi siya listed dun sa mga data natin. So is that possible? The answer is yes, it's possible. Paano? Without writing marketing dyan sa YouTube, Okay, how do you do that? To do that, class, you have to tell R that yung mga next na codes natin, whatever object we will specify there should be coming from marketing. So the way to do it is you use this function attach. Yan. Attach marketing. Okay, so what will this do? When we use attach marketing, ang ibig sabihin nun, lahat ng mga objects na i-define natin will be coming from marketing. Okay, so let me attach that, attach marketing, and let me see if this will run. Nag-run na siya. Kahit na walang marketing na nakalagay dito, kahit na walang marketing na nakalagay dito sa sales. So it ran. Okay? All right, any questions with this? Clear ba yan so far, class? Okay, so if you want to still run functions without identifying the data frame from which it's coming from, then i-attach natin. Okay, i-attach natin para kahit na hindi natin i-define yung object, it will work. The only advantage here is that, the disadvantage here is that if you have several data frames that you're using, so hindi mo muna magagamit yung ibang unless you define again yung kung anong object siya galing, kung anong data frame siya galing. So this will work well if for the next, let's say next code chunks or next functions, ang ginagamit mo lang sa marketing. Okay, and then after that, kunyari tapos na, no? Okay, gagamit ka na ng ibang data frame, edi i-detach mo na siya. Detach marketing. Ibig sabihin nun, okay na. Gagamit ka na ng ibang data frame, okay? Hindi na lang si marketing. So ngayon, si marketing, di ba, naka-attach. I-detach ko siya, class. Detach marketing. Okay, so naka-detach yung marketing na, And if I run this, error na naman. Error na naman kasi hindi na naman niya na-recognize si YouTube at saka sales because marketing has already been detached. Okay, so these are just simple techniques. If you, para sa akin, I seldom use attach. Kasi mas maganda kung nasa code ko, naka-identify pa rin kung saan galing object siya, data frame galing siya. Okay. All right, so let's proceed, class. Okay, we will not, sige, i-run na lang natin to, no? So here we're creating a vector, and this is a numeric vector, this is a character vector, this is a logical vector. If you want to create, a data frame, then gamitin natin tong data.frame. Kanina list, di ba? Tingnan natin yung class. So let's run this. Alright. So ito yung N natin, N. Ito yung S, ito yung B. And then this is now a ano? Alright. Ito si N, ito si S, ito si B. And the class is, the class ni DF is a data.frame. So data frame siya. And once again, if we check, for example, hanapin natin yung length ni DF at saka yung dimension niya, dimension ni DF, pati na rin yung names, no? Names ni DF. Okay. So si names din class hindi mag-work yan kay ano, kay list. Kasi wala naman names yung bawat item ni list. Eh. Okay, for data frame, okay, take a look at this. Ano length ni data frame? 3 kasi 3 columns siya. Ano dimension niya? 3 by 3. And then ano names? Yung names ng mga variables, mga columns, N, S, B. Okay? All right, clear so far. This is a very basic example. We go here to the more let's say more comprehensive example. Okay. So let's take a look at this object. Okay, of this function. So we're creating an object called employee.data. Ito yung object na pinecreate natin. Ito yung assignment operator natin. Tapos ito, data.frame na to. So all the objects here will be combined into a data frame. So ano yung una? Employee ID. Okay, this is the name of that object. Okay, and this is a vector to, no? And it makes use of run if function. Okay, let's take a look at the run if function. Ano ba yung run if function? Okay, so once again, question mark, run if. Okay, run if, control, enter. So lalabas dito yan sa internal. So nagkakaproblema ako sa ano. Isa pa. Okay, may problema ako sa health ko. Cannot open the connection. Okay. Sige, class. Kayo na lang tanungin ko, no? I'm sorry, I'm not able to generate this. Galing siya sa stats package. Subukan ko yung stats. No? Nagkaka-error ako eh. I don't know why. Question mark, stats, run if. Let me see if this will work. Okay. So let me see. Problema ako class. Internal server. Alright. So, ano yung run if? Sa inyo na lang, please. Error in file out. Wait, cannot open the connection. Okay. Could somebody please answer that question? Ano yung run if class? Ano generate niya? What type of distribution? Kasi natapos na tayo sa R norm, di ba? Si R norm, meron tayong D norm, merong P norm, merong Q norm. These are random numbers, normally distributed. Si run if naman, class, anong distribution yan? Hello? What distribution, please? I'll try to run it here. May error talaga ako. Okay, ano siya? Okay, uniform distribution. Thank you. So uniform distribution siya. So meron din siyang done if, meron siyang PUN if, meron siyang QUN if, meron siyang RUN if. Yung RUR is random, no? Generating random numbers. This is uniform distribution. Okay? So ang uniform distribution, ang syntax niya is first is the number of observations. Okay, and then yung maximum value at saka yung minimum value. The default is maximum is 0. If you take a look at the help function, the default is maximum is equal to 0 and minimum is equal to 1. Okay? So, for example, Bibigyan lang ako example dito. Run if, let's say, 10, and then kunin ko yung default na maximum is minimum. Of course, you can change this. Minimum is equal to 0. This is the default. Maximum is equal to 1. Okay, default yan. Pwede natin baguhin yan. Or kung default ang ginagamit natin, I can just remove this. Okay, but let me just show that. Control Enter. Yan. Okay, so we now have 10 numbers randomly generated. Okay, let me put here a name A. Okay, so si A, so pupunta siya dito sa vector, no? Andito siya sa mga values. It's a numerical vector. And konti lang kasi siya, no? Kaya if dagdagan ko, I make this 1,000. And then I draw the histogram. Okay. Tingnan natin how this looks. Run. All right. So you can see here that yan ang uniform distribution. Halos pare-pareho siya yung ano niya, yung distribution niya. Unlike pag normally distributed, di ba? Bell curve yun. Ito normal. Ito uniform. If gawin pa natin mas malaki yan, mas lalo magiging parang ano yan, parang okay? Yan, no? Diba? Uniform distribution. The bigger the sample size is, the more it approximates. Yan, no? Tingnan nyo. Halos parang ano na siya. Parang uniform talaga. Okay? So, yun ang class? Yun ang uniform distribution. So, ganun ang gagawin natin dito. We're going to create an object, employee ID, and then we're going to have 10 random numbers from 1,000 up to 999. Okay? So, ang minimum natin 1,000, ang maximum 999. And then we also have another object, employee name, and it's a character vector, mga pangalan ng mga empleyado. So, Gary, Rick, Dan, Michelle, etc. Naka-quote siya. So, we know this is character. And then salary, okay, salary, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 din. Take note, di ba dapat 10 yan? Kasi dapat similar yung mga rows, number of rows ng ating data frame. And then start that date, you have ask that date. Okay, so 10 din yan class. And then here, merong comma, strings as factors is equal to false. So ibig sabihin yan class, yung mga character variables natin, okay, it will not be treated as factors. And rightly so, kasi mga pangalan yan. Unless you want to use the names as classifiers. So lahat ng Rick, lahat ng Dan, lahat ng, hindi naman natin, that's not the object of this data. Alright? Okay, so, pag, okay, 10 lang naman, sige, pwede ito. I-run natin class, ipiprint niya employee data, no? Let's run this. Ipiprint niya kasi naka-open and close parenthesis. Let's see. Alright, so ito yung data frame natin. Okay. Siguro dapat sinama natin dito class. Ano yung object natin? The name of the object is emp.data, employee.data. Insert natin dito class emp.data. Yan. And then i-run ulit natin. Alright. So you'll have here, okay, 10 observations. Andyan yung employee ID, andyan yung employee name, andyan yung salary, andyan yung starting date. Okay, yung employee name, magkakaiba-iba tayo kasi random to eh. So if you want this, gawin natin if you want to have the same employee IDs, gawin natin set.c, di ba? Okay, we're building up on what we have been learning. Gawin natin set.c as 1, 2, 3, 4 na lang. Okay? And then, itong employee ID, kasi tingnan natin employee ID natin, di ba? May decimal place. Diba? Parang pangit naman yung ganyang employee ID. Gawin na lang natin yung employee ID. Okay, i-round natin. No? Remember the round? Round, tapos i-round natin sa Okay, comma, 0. Walang decimal place. Okay, so walang decimal place. 10 objects, 10 observations, number from 1,000 to 999, walang decimal place, naka-round off siya. Set that seed, 1, 2, 3, 4. So pare-pareho tayo nito pare-pareho tayo ng employee ID. Okay, so let's run this, run. And let's see the printout. Okay, feedback please. Are we getting the same employee ID 2023 kay Rick, 6600 si Dan? Okay, and then we have the employee name, salary name, and start that date. And then we know that this is a data frame siya. We know that it's a data frame. Yes, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so data frame yun, no? So that's how we create a data frame. Okay, and then let's see. Pwede nating kunin, for example, okay, names ni emp.data. Okay, ano pa? Let's say the length ni emp.data. Also the dimension emp.data. And then let's see yung type of naman. Type of. Kasi kanina may type of tayo sa ano, diba? Sa vectors. Type of emp.data. Okay? So let's just run these functions about this data frame. Okay. Sorry, emp.data. Data. Okay. Run. Okay. So ang mga names niya, yung mga variable names. Employee ID, employee name, salary, start date. Length is the number of variables, diba? 4. Dimension is the number of rows by columns. Okay. And then, interesting, no? Ang type of ng isang data frame is a list. Okay? Ang type of ng isang data frame is a list kasi it can contain, at strictly speaking, di ba, ang list kasi it can contain different data types. No? So this is something that's interesting. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Yung susunod, we'll end here kasi it's almost time. I just want us to be at the same place as the other sections. Okay. In-split ko na lang siya. Okay. All right. So what are we creating here? We're creating an object ID. Tanggalin na natin tong, let's not print anymore. 1 to 200 lang naman yan. This is a integer vector. And then we have group here. Group, tanggalin natin, huwag na natin i-print. So what are we creating? A vector of 1 to 200, an object called group. So it will repeat a character, the character vehicle 100 times, and then i-concatenate niya, i-repeat na naman niya si drug 100 times. So all in all, 200 to, no? 200 rows. So consistent siya with the ID, 200 then. And then here, create siya ng isang variable then, response. Tanggalin natin yung pag-print. Okay. Sorry about my mouse. My mouse is not cooperating. Okay, meron tayong panibagong variable response. Ano to? R norm. R norm, so random to, no? 100 observations with mean 25, standard deviation 5. And another R norm, 100 din. So all in all, 200 observations yan. So para pareho tayo mag-set that seed ulit tayo. Set that seed. Wala ko talaga itong set that seed at ano na lang, 987. So that we have the same randomly generated na normal distribution. Normal distributed na random numbers. Okay, yung isa, mean 25, standard deviation 5. Yung isa naman, mean 23, standard deviation 5. Okay, and then ito, okay, magkre-create tayo ng, okay, magkre-create tayo ng object na my data, and then pagsasama-sama natin as a data frame itong ID, itong group, at saka itong response. Now, what happens here is that patient is equal to ID. Ibig sabihin, yung variable name na magiging patient. Yung group, ito, na first 100 vehicle, second 100 drug, it will be called treatment. And then third, yung third object, yung third vector na response, it will be called as capital response, capital one. Okay, so let me run this. Let's run this. And ito, open and close parenthesis, my data, ito ipiprint nyo. Click. Okay, so my data. Tama? So ito yung patient, ito yung 1 up to 200. Yung group, naging treatment, di ba? Pinatawag natin na treatment. And then yung response. So let's, we can view this. View, what's the name? My data. View my data. So that this will appear as, okay, ito na yung tab natin. So 200 entries, 200 observations. Okay, we should have the same. We should have the same data set, no? Okay, and let's check here sa mga data natin. Andito ba siya? Yes, andito. So my data. 200 observations of and 3 variables. If I click this, it's the same as view. View my data. All right. Okay, so we can pwede nating Control-Alt-I, kunin yung as usual yung length ni my data. Length ni my data. Isama na rin natin dimension, my data. And then let's also get the name of my data. Okay. All right. Yun na lang. Okay. Run. Okay. We are expecting that the length will be 3 kasi 3 columns, 200 by 3, the dimension, and the names of the columns are patient, treatment, response. And we can, of course, get the, lastly, kunyari, kunin natin yung mean ni my data, dollar, dyan, C, diba? Yung ano dyan, yung response. Response, and then we can get that 24.3925. Okay, so let's stop here. Stop the recording. Oops.